Between never-ending laundry cycles and incoming emails, you've got plenty on your to-do list. Give yourself one less thing to worry about, or one fewer thing to worry about, and let DoorDash take care of your next meal. DoorDash is the app that brings you food you're craving right now, right to your door. Ordering is easy. Open the DoorDash app, choose what you want to eat, and your food will be left safely outside your door with a new contactless delivery drop-off setting. With over 300,000 partners in the US, Puerto Rico, Canada, and Australia, you can support your local go-tos or choose from your favorite national restaurants like Chipotle, Wendy's, and the Cheesecake Factory. Many of your favorite local restaurants are still open for delivery. Just open the DoorDash app, select your favorite local restaurant, and your food will be left at your door. DoorDash deliveries are now contactless to keep communities we operate in safe. Right now, our listeners can get $5 off and zero delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code BIRDS. That's $5 off and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code BIRDS. Don't forget that's code BIRDS for $5 off your first order with DoorDash.
To your mother, it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia, Bo, Sheil, and Zach kicking it cooler than three penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Sheil, and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings on.
How do you have time to consume all this content? You're listening to Dave Spadaro interviews?
I take a morning bike ride and I listen to
I want to hear more about that, but go ahead.
No, the Schuylkill Trail.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Wednesday afternoon supersized edition of Birds with Friends. Bo Wolf here, Sheila Kapadia there, Marissa Morris on the ones and twos. Nobody cares about us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the winner of the 2020 Dave Goldberg Award for Best Game Story, Zack Berman.
Hey, don't leave him short.
Now, Zach, you also
Come on. Don't tell him short.
Finished as the number one runner-up in the Best Beat Writer Award. I forget the person who that's named after, but I think it's time for you to, to give us your acceptance speech.
There's no acceptance speech. First off, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I knew this was coming. So like on this podcast, so I can't. Obviously, I'm honored. I appreciate the music in the background is killing me. I genuinely, excuse me. I genuinely appreciated it. I
choked up.
No. I can't come out here with false modesty. It's cool to be recognized for your work, especially when there's so many talented football writers. That being said, and I say this in sincerity, it was 8-9 months ago. You're only as good as your last story and your next story. I have a lot of work to do. And I said this back in January, and I stand by it. The best story written on the Eagles beat last year was Bo's Jason Kelsey story. So I need to aspire to write a story that good this year. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Well, the PFWA did not agree. So there you go.
I'm very grateful and appreciative. And there's a big game Thursday night, tomorrow night, and so we have a lot to discuss.
This is much more important.
This is, we're talking about a 1-4-1 team against a 1-5 team. This is
the NFC East is on the line.
Much more important.
How much hardware is this? You're gonna have to redo that shelving back there. I want to see those bad boys up there.
Look, I'm very grateful. It's very nice. And we have a lot to discuss on this.
All right. He gave a speech. I say we can let him off the hook now. He did deliver a speech, so he didn't poo-poo it.
You did. You should be very proud, and we are very proud of you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
as
honored
always,
to be part
Zach,
of this team.
We love you.
Listen,
And the chat is so proud of you.
Yeah,
Lots of nice stuff.
I mean, let's be honest. This podcast has zero chance of ever winning an award. So, like, this is as close as we will. I mean, me and Bo. I mean, let's be Marissa.
That's
maybe I could. I don't know if they give a producer of the year award. I would nominate
Marissa's
Marissa.
got hardware in her
but like, this is as close as we're gonna get. So yeah, we need to display those bad boys prominently once the hardware comes in.
Although we named like a best. We were named a best of Philly podcast once. So there, it's basically the same thing.
Come on. When was that?
I should just say too, you're only as good as your material. And Josh McCown gave like great material that night to work with. So
so you're thanking first and foremost Jadeveon Clowney.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm just anyways.
Man, if you do have to give an acceptance speech, then you definitely should say, I want to thank first and foremost Jadeveon Clowney.
No, I would.
No, Bill O'Brien. You can take it way back. Yeah. First of all, Bill O'Brien. Without him, none of this would be possible.
I have one last question, and then we will let you off the hook and get to the topic.
Because there's a lot of news, so we need to get to that.
Well, there's a lot of show. So
I'll be the judge of that.
We ask you about the anxiety that you have about stuff. I want to know, did you allow yourself to take a whiff? How happy was your wife about this development?
She was excited. Because I put in a lot of work here, so
I think you're allowed to forgive yourself for sleeping in on the
but
Peterson.
No, but it's not like I mean, nothing changed. Obviously, it was just, but it was not. Yeah, she felt.
I'm the same guy I was yesterday.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I think that you said, do I allow myself to take a whiff? No, it felt good, and then I wrote a Jake Elliott story. So it's that simple.
All right. Well, we do have a lot to get to. We will do our bird on the street. We will do the Squall 22 as Sheil tells us what happened against the Ravens. We've got Crow Thine Enemy, getting to know this Giants team the Eagles will play on Thursday. We are bringing back, after a smashing success last week, Swooper Sore-Casting. And this week we're going to play by the same rules as last week. Now that everybody knows the rules, we'll see how that goes. And we are opening up suggestions from the commenters. So we have each submitted 3 predictions to Marissa. That means there are 3 opportunities for you guys to give us some possible predictions to bet on, and then we will of course close with the Crystal Bald Eagle. So let's get to the news. We just spoke with Doug Peterson. There are a lot of injuries on this team, so of course we send it over to the award-winning Zack Berman.
Let's begin with the players who will make their return on Thursday night. Deshaun Jackson is expected to be back in the lineup, as is Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson will give the Eagles a big boost on the offensive line. Avonte Maddox will be back at cornerback, and Duke Riley expected back at linebacker. So those are 4 big additions, but obviously the most noteworthy there being Lane Johnson and Deshaun Jackson. The players who will not be in uniform Thursday night: Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, Malik Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey. Another week without Alshon Jeffrey, apparently because it's a short week. He didn't have enough time to get ready for this one. And then Jack Driscoll and Kayvon Wallace. Doug Peterson did not address those 2, but we're assuming they will not be in the lineup. But the big ones there being Ertz, Miles Sanders, Malik Jackson. All 3 were injured last Sunday, and we don't have definitive timetables on them. ESPN has reported that Zach Ertz will miss a few weeks. We'll see what goes on with Miles Sanders and Malik Jackson. I asked Doug Peterson if they are IR candidates. Doug Peterson said that it's something he'll discuss with Howie, but obviously they haven't made a move at this time. So certainly something to pay attention to there. If they are not placed on IR, we are presuming that they expect them back within at least a 3-week time period.
But so this is interesting because they have the bye in 3 weeks. So if they don't put them on IR, that means they think they're going to play next week.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So
or have a shot next week.
I mean, that was
3 weeks.
That was not what the
weeks,
reports
not
were.
games, correct?
Right.
Exactly. So that's a very good point.
So that's interesting. Like, I mean, what the reports on from Chris Mortensen were that both of them were like 2 to 3 week injuries. So I mean, they have misdiagnosed this stuff before. Alshon Jeffrey now missing his 7th game after he came off PUP. So I think we have to continue to hold them to task here. Now, it's not like they have guys on the practice squad who need to come up. Basically, everybody who can play has played, but it'll be silly if they don't put them on IR and then they're going to miss the next 2 games.
And they basically tip their hand in terms of the players they are going to promote by protecting Prince Tega Winogo and T.Y. McGill. Obviously, the Eagles need depth at offensive tackle with Driscoll's injury. They need depth at defensive tackle with Malik Jackson's injury. So you'll see those 2 players, I assume, elevated for Thursday's game.
I hope we see Elijah Riley called up. That way I can
on to the 53
this game. Yes.
On to the 53. Okay.
So Lane Johnson back. That's good. And as you said, no announcement from Doug Peterson about what's going to happen in the interior offensive line. It was funny when we got a panicked tweet from Rich Bobby because he put center in there. He's not going to say who's playing where. I think it's probably safe. It would be funny if they just slide Kelsey to left guard.
Yeah.
My read on that is that it will be what we said on Monday. Is that when we on the beat back and forth that
it appeared Tuesday morning. Yeah.
I think it will be Sua Opeta at left guard and Nate Herbig at right guard.
And now, why do you think the left and right? Because I agree. I don't think they'll put Jamon Brown out there. Matt Pryor hasn't been activated off the COVID list yet, so I'm assuming Opeta steps in there. But do you think Opeta's more comfortable on the left side, and that's why they would do that?
I think Opeta is more comfortable on the left side, and I think that Herbig is more comfortable on the right side. And pretty much, dating back to all of practices the last 2 years, when it was the second team offensive line, it was Opeta at left guard and Herbig at right guard when Herbig was not playing center.
Astute observation.
I thought that watching Jamon Brown play really made it stand out that Herbig really is doing a very good job. There is a floor there that in a different scenario, a guy like Herbig could come in, and that's the floor you see is what Jamon Brown was last week. And so watching them play next to each other. And also, I mean, doesn't Herbig look like the kind of guy who if they have him in a good training program, maybe gets sort of his I mean, I don't want to rip his look really, because I mean, it's not like he's getting really, he's not getting tired at the end. It's not like in the fourth quarter, he's giving up sacks.
Well, that you probably don't remember this, Sheil, but that happened in the preseason game last year.
Oh, it did.
Against the Jaguars. He was like, I've never seen an offensive lineman look more gassed. It was unbelievable.
There you go.
Yeah,
look at that. From that year to this year, now he's playing in games. He's competent. He's not getting tired in the fourth quarter. Get this guy in a good training regimen in the off season. He looks like a competent, I think he's the kind of guy you say we can start him at guard until we find someone who's a lot better. You know what I mean? Like you draft somebody, someone comes in, that person plays really well and beats him out, but he's not the guy, I wouldn't be worried about having him in there as guard. I think he's fine.
Yeah, I think he is ideally a very good fourth interior offensive lineman.
And now you mentioned Jamon Brown, the play that's getting attention on social media.
There are 3 plays that are really just fantastic.
Is when he was adjusting his gloves, and I bring that up because Jamon Brown was asked last week. We spoke to him last Friday. What it's like his first playing time. What do you bring to the team? That kind of thing, and his answer was swag. That was the first he said, I bring swag.
True, he did
so it made sense that in the middle of the play, he had to adjust his gloves because he needed to look swaggy out there.
That play is so funny. He's just standing there, looking very unathletic. He just got teleported onto the field as a spectator. He's just looking around.
I mean, he thought the play was over, but you should not be doing that. I agree. I mean, it's funny to watch, but obviously he thought the play was over. I mean, I feel silly for ripping Matt Pryor all these weeks because this was clearly a situation where the coaching staff knew more than I did about the guy who would potentially be Matt Pryor's replacement. I mean, that play where Calais Campbell just chucks him
never seen anything like it.
What does O-line Twitter say? Threw him out the club. but it's usually the O lineman throwing the D lineman out the club. You rarely see a man that size getting tossed like that. So that was, it was one of many. I mean, it was really, again, I think it was sort of instructive that is a situation where it's just like, this guy is ruining your entire, it's the opposite of a game wrecker. It's a game wrecker unintentionally by an offensive lineman. And so, when we see some of these other performances and you say, well, this guy gave up a sack, this guy screwed up a couple times, like there's that level. And then there's this level where you just sort of are like, got to throw your hands up. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. So what about Deshaun Jackson coming back? Zach, what's your expectation for, how much he's going to play and whose playing time he's going to take?
It's a good question. I think he'll play his typical allotment of snaps. That being said,
from which game?
Typical,
like
exactly. We don't know which allotment that is. So maybe something similar to week 1 when he was around 50% of the snaps. I don't think he's going to eat away at Travis Fulgham snaps. My guess is he'll eat away at some of John Hightower's snaps. Perhaps Greg Ward if they moved him inside. We discussed this on the post-game pod the other night, and I'm curious what Sheil thinks because he wasn't on the pod the other night, obviously, is what they do, like if they just run their normal offense without Ertz and without Miles Sanders, or if they get more receivers on the field and spread it out, because they have 6 receivers healthy for this game. And they have their top tight end is Richard Rodgers and their top running backs, Boston Scott. So maybe they go more 4 wide packages because they do have numbers at that position.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think definitely third down situations, 2-minute, places where you do not need any of those guys to be a blocker. Like those 4 are definitely going to go into their routes. I mean, I see zero reason why you would want Richard Rodgers on the field in those situations rather than those 4 wide receivers. So I agree with you. I mean, early downs, you might want sort of that element of, you don't know what we're going to do. You would be obviously more likely to throw the ball if you went 4 wide. But I mean, Richard Rodgers is getting thrown around in the run game. I said it last week, but man, this is like he's got no shot. He's just, you look at a lot of their runs that are getting blown up. It was Jamon Brown, Richard Rodgers, when he's asked to block like an edge guy. I mean, he's just getting chucked and it's getting blown up. So I don't want to go on a whole Richard Rodgers rant again, like I did last podcast, but I would agree with you. I think, you definitely should see more 4 wide receiver sets. By the way, Quez Watkins had one really nice route and he played in that game, right?
Well, we lost Bo.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Baby, is he on his way to the hospital? I don't know. That could happen at any time. Do you know how many snaps? How much did Quez Watkins play?
I will pull that up for you right now. I have it. So I'm looking down at my phone because I am getting the snaps, not because I have something more appealing here. Yeah. Quez Watkins offensively took 15 snaps, so 21% of the snaps.
Okay. There was one route. He was on the left side. He ran a post, and I was like, wait, which receiver is this? Because it was really nice. The ball didn't go his way, so maybe this is a game where he gets a little bit more run.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to Richard Rodgers is blocking. I don't know if Bo's here or not, but Bo asked Doug a good question the other day about the 2-point conversion. Basically, was Richard Rodgers supposed to pick up Matt Judon? And Doug just didn't answer. Doug said, I'm responsible for the play call there, so on and so forth. I would imagine, I'm curious what you think watching the tape. I would imagine the error on that play was in part Rodgers against Judon.
I was really confused on that play. I mean, it looked like, not everyone knew what the play was. Honestly, that's what it was, because Carson Wentz and the offensive line, they're running a zone read. And so it's like Judon is unblocked and Wentz is supposed to read him. If he crashes on Boston Scott, Wentz takes off. We all know what a zone read is, but this was a situation where there were 2 guys unblocked. And so when there's 2 guys unblocked, there's nothing to do. I mean, you can read Judon. I think he was, I don't know. I couldn't remember which guy was reading. I thought initially he was reading Judon. Judon crashed on Boston Scott. And so I thought Rodgers was responsible to you block LJ Ford.
I was going to see what happened.
Block LJ Ford, but Rodgers went out into a pass route. So even though Judon crashed and it worked kind of how you would hope it would work, and Wentz takes off, LJ Fort's right there ready to blow him up. So it's a bad look for the coaching staff, really. I mean, not everybody on the same page in a high leverage moment like that And then Doug using the excuse of, well, we used our 2-point plays earlier. Like, I mean, come on, give me, what are you doing at practice? Like, isn't the hallmark of whenever we hear these stories about great coaches is they're prepared for every situation. Now, I know you can't practice 25 different 2-point conversion plays during the week, but don't you have these foundational base plays that you could potentially go to there, whether it's an RPO, whether it's a different rub route, whatever that you go to there? I mean, I thought that was just a really weak explanation for it.
Well, to catch you up here,
go ahead.
Sheil was talking about the way Quez Watkins played, had a good route. Then I complimented your question to Doug about if it was Richard Rodgers supposed to be blocking Matthew Judon, and how Doug just didn't answer it. And we're assuming it was Rodgers' responsibility.
I think so. And to double down on Sheil's point, I don't know if we said this at the beginning, but what makes that play call and like the rush to the line even more maddening is that it was the second play after the 2-minute warning, and they had the ball on the 1-yard line, and they called a quarterback sneak. So, like, of course you should be already thinking about what that play call is going to be.
Absolutely.
You should have been thinking on it the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, think it's such a contrast to like the Super Bowl year, right? I mean, like just think of the Philly special. Like they didn't know what they were going to do. They dial it up and boom. And now you're just sort of like caught. Like there are moments in a game that you're not prepared for. You got to think on your feet. You're the play caller. That's what you have to be ready for.
And then
Coach Flynn says you should have 2 2-point conversions in the game plan and another 4 more you can call based on guys running them before. Yeah. Like, these are foundational plays that you've probably repped. Maybe you didn't rep them 100 times that week, but like everyone knows what they're supposed to do. You've run them before and you can go to them.
So Doug's reference wasn't the 2-point conversion plays. It was to red zone. I think it was those the red zone or the goal line plays. And they did have a lot of, red zone, a lot of red zone goal line plays in the game. Nonetheless, you can still run something again and dress it up differently.
Yeah, I always like the idea that you can't just run a play again. When you need to gain 2 yards.
He's bragged about that before. Right. Like I remember they ran mesh 9 times or whatever in the Super Bowl. Like you could run these plays, you have them in different looks, and you can go to it. So anyway.
And I do think the point about 4 receivers that you brought up is an interesting one, Zach, because I think it's a test of how adaptable this staff is, because what they would do normally is they would just, they would have Richard Rodgers and, Jason Kroom out there in 12 personnel, or they would put, they would rely on guys they already knew. And we're going to see like Corey Clement and Boston Scott on the field together, and Boston Scott as like a slot receiver. If they instead like trust the young guys and have, Quez Watkins out there in 4 receiver sets more often, I think that is, that's at least an indication that they're paying attention and willing to be flexible.
Now they obviously, it's a short week, so they didn't have much practice time. They basically have walkthroughs. So I don't know how much is in their playbook in terms of, the diversity of plays in, let's say, whether it's 10 personnel or 01 personnel, whatever it may be, to get 4 wide on the field. But I imagine that they have some, and it's not hard to mix it up. And you're only really talking about obvious passing situations. You can approach first down differently.
All right, let's pivot to the Squall 22. We've already heard your thoughts on Jamon Brown and the 2-point conversion show. What else can you tell us about the eye in the sky and what it didn't lie about?
Well, you just mentioned Jason Kroom. That might have been the funniest touchdown league-wide. I mean, the Ravens I don't think they realized he was on the field or part of their team. He's literally standing there going like this for 5 seconds. Wentz gets pressured so he doesn't see him. Then he escapes pressure. Kroom is sitting there going like this. Then Wentz, I don't know why he did this. He gives like a fake. Like, I don't know who he thought he had to... He had to make out, and then finally he throws it to Kroom. And Kroom's, I mean, that was an amazing touchdown. So that was great.
It was right in front of us, and we saw Kroom the whole time.
Yeah. It was that was hilarious.
I have been meaning to look up how many players have had games this year where they had a touchdown on one snap.
There you go. Well, you guys talked about the Hightower drop in the post game pod. You get Marcus Peters to bite there, and you're not going to find him more wide open. And so that was basically one takeaway was that they're I'm normally the guy who says stop making excuses for Carson Wentz. Every, quarterback deals with injuries. Every quarterback has guys drop passes. But this game was like totally, this was the case. You just talk about those two plays. That's either a 50-yard gain, maybe a 75-yard touchdown. And then Miles Sanders, that's a 21-yard touchdown. I mean, this just would totally change the game. And those are plays that an NFL player should make. The Hightower one, you should make that 10 out of 10. I guess we could say 9 out of 10 if we're being generous.
10 out of 10.
Sanders one is a little bit more challenging, but certainly you should make that 70% of the time. Mm-hmm. You should make you turn around and you should be able to make that catch. So that 80%. Was 80%. Okay. Yes. That was the play. I remember, the Josh Jacobs draft Twitter was showing a play Josh Jacobs made like that in Alabama. And it was like, all right, this guy's a great wide receiver. And I think Sanders he's not having a great year. Probably, especially in terms of being a pass catcher, as Zach has written about, but you would expect him to make that play. I thought Wentz, there were I don't know what's going on with him and Ertz. Like he just misses him constantly. I mean, his accuracy is all over the place, specifically with Ertz. He had the fumble. I thought there were 2 passes that could have been intercepted, but you look at the end of the game and who he's playing with, and to bring them back in the fourth quarter, that 40-yard run where he was just basically like, all right, get on my back. I mean, you do like to see that fight. I think that's legit. And I do think
he was getting killed.
He was getting, that's like a good big storyline. I feel like for Thursday night, right? Like what kind of shape is this guy's body in going into a short week after 16 quarterback hits?
He was literally asked what color bruises did he have on his body yesterday.
Very specific. Good. Yeah. Who asked that? Good specific question.
Ed Kratz asked it.
I like that.
And Carson gave his, you always have bumps and bruises. I thought the line that really resonated was you have to convince your body, and he was talking on Tuesday, obviously. He said you have to convince your body that it's Friday today. That and he was talking about Tuesday. So that would make
that seems like that seems like a justification for like drinking before noon or something.
Yeah. But so now I brought up to Carson, a lot has been made, and I'm one who's made a big deal about it in recent years about Doug's record on Thursday nights. But a big part of that is because of the way Carson has played. Some of Carson's best performances have been on Thursday night. If you think about the Packers game last year on the road, that was a big game. The Giants game the year before, that was a real big game coming off that Minnesota loss. In 2017, he had the Panthers game. Yeah. And
that was like one of my favorite games to cover.
You just liked it because my foot got ran over by the Lyft driver.
And I liked your friend who had the brewery. That was fun too.
That's true.
So with Carson, right? Yeah. So with Carson, a big part of it is now he said the same thing Doug says, but I think that Carson does a good job, like just toughing through whatever he has at that moment in playing. So it's a good quality of his.
Okay. A couple, let's say a few other things here. I thought they got back into the Ravens definitely were like sleepwalking at points in the second half. I mean, that 50-yard completion to Hightower down the left sideline, he didn't do anything. That was a complete coverage bust where no one picked him up and he ran down and no one ran with him. So, there was nothing he did special there. The Kroom TD, again, they didn't even notice that he was on the field. The JJ Arcega-Whiteside 2-point conversion, like it seemed like he didn't run the route Marcus Peters wanted him to run, and Peters was like, all right. He literally stops in the end zone. Like, if that were the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, Marcus Peters is not being so like sort of relaxed in his coverage there. So there certainly were situations like that. Travis Fulgham, I thought he played better than he played the previous week. I mean, I know you guys were talking about after the game that why didn't they get him the ball earlier? I was thinking the same thing as I was watching. Multiple opportunities to get him the ball where Wentz was just getting crushed, sacked, pressured. I mean, there were at least 3 in the first half where he ran great routes. I think he would have been the read. He's open, and Wentz doesn't have time to get him the ball. So I don't think it was a case of them ignoring him or anything like that. It was just the protection being terrible.
If the Eagles win that game, that 4th and 9 touchdown is viewed as like a a great play of the season. It was just Carson just throwing it up there and Fulgham making a play on the ball.
Yeah, zero blitz, middle of the field is open. He chucks it up there. I think that was Marcus Peters again. So I don't know if he gave full effort on that. It looked like he could have easily just knocked the ball down, but whatever, Fulgham went up and got it. So good job by him. But yeah, I was very encouraged by Fulgham. I thought he separated and got open more in this game. I think he's got a great feel against zone coverage of, how to sort of adjust and find the soft spots. So, he had 75 yards. He had a pass interference penalty. That's 30. That's over 100. And like I said, there's 3 or 4 times I thought he could have got the ball that he didn't. So he really could have had an even bigger game there, I thought. Let's see.
What'd you make of Mailata?
Probably his worst game so far. But again, it's that scale. Now we have the Jamon Brown scale. So it's the, he certainly wasn't at that level. Got beat at times. I think they definitely confused them with some of their blitzes, that kind of thing. But, he competed. I know that clip circulating. That really was unbelievable after the
tackle.
Wentz fumble. Not just the tackle, but I mean, what's he thinking? Just the play's over and he shots the guy back down.
Fantastic.
That's he needs to be a defensive tackle, right?
I don't know how did get a penalty on that.
That's the lead of my Mailata feature that is upcoming.
Oh, now you're letting the cat out the bag here.
You got to get that up quickly. You might be on paternity leave.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything where I'm you got to bench this guy or he's out of there. I look at everything as sort of a growing process right now. He's certainly not their worst lineman. So I thought he wasn't great, but he was fine. And let's see, anything else here? Richard Rodgers, a disaster as a blocker. I wrote down.
We talked about it last week, so we don't need to talk about it again. Yeah. But it's just insane. He's such a bad blocker. Yeah. What is he doing? How is he your third tight end for the 3rd year in a row?
I had the same outside the box idea you did about JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I mean, these things are generally easier said than done, but I don't know. At this point, yeah, let's put some weight on it. We know he plays with effort, right? He likes to block, and see what happens. Maybe that's a way to get him on the field. Did Bo freeze? Do we have another Bo frozen face here?
Yeah, is.
There he is. Okay.
So it would probably
my internet connection is unstable. It tells me. Well, it's not the only thing unstable in this house.
I know that's right.
If you look at the skill set of the players, JJ at tight end and Hakeem Butler as an outside receiver might make more sense than the inverse, right?
You're right.
They're basically teaching Hakeem Butler how to play tight end.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting outside the box idea. I'll tell you, that was the offense. I don't think anything else you guys wanted to touch on with the offense.
Not that I can think of.
I'll tell you who's got me smitten, and I can't claim him because Zach was ahead of everybody. Josh Sweat was unbelievable in this game. I mean, it seemed that way watching live, but watching the film, he's got one-on-one reps against Ronnie Stanley, who's maybe the best left tackle in the NFL, certainly on the short list, and he's getting pass rush there. He's playing, what's the saying? Like his hair's on fire. Is that yeah. I mean, his energy and effort is outstanding. And you see that combined with the physical skills. This guy has a much higher ceiling than I was anticipating. He was jumping. I wrote his name down more than anybody else on defense throughout the course of this game. I mean, he batted down the screen pass. He had a pressure on 3rd down that forced an incompletion. He had multiple tackles for loss in this game. So I want to see more of him. And they have that interesting decision. What is it with Barnett? They've got to the 5th-year option.
Well, they picked up his 5th-year option, but it's if he's on the roster like March, whatever, then it's guaranteed.
Which you might want to keep all those guys, but I know Sweat's long-term durability is probably always going to be a concern. But if you told me that he was going to be, both guys were going to be healthy the rest of their career, I don't know what the odds are that one of them is going to have a much better career than the other one. So he's really been impressive this year. I think he's taken another leap, and I thought that was one of the best games I've seen him play. So I want to see him play more. Javon, how come
Take a whiff, Zach.
How come? Yeah, really. I wanted to. I was like, oh, maybe Josh Sweat. I got a nice, unique take here, but I'm like, Zach was talking about this guy before last year, so I can't really claim. And I was making fun.
Twice a day. Right?
I was making fun of him. So you go up against the sports writer of the year, and these are the losses you got to.
The sports writer of the year.
Listen, we're gonna give this life of its
you
own.
You are a one-time Pennsylvania sports writer of the year.
That's
so
right. Yeah. I mean, I could say anything, and it would probably be correct here. Javon Hargrave, is there a reason this guy or this move has not gotten more heat? Or are we just assuming that he's injured?
Well, no, I think it's because Jackson has I think Malik Jackson's been, I don't want to say so good, but has been good enough that Hargrave's the third defensive tackle essentially.
Okay, but you just paid him $13 million a year.
Well, that was the dilemma when you signed him, right? Now that being said, we're not going to see Malik Jackson Thursday night, so this needs to be a big Javon Hargrave game.
I think you're right though that now with Jackson out, the focus will be closer on him.
I mean, I've held off on completely, going in on it because I don't know if he's healthy or not. When a guy misses that much training camp and starts the season with an injury, you always have to sort of be aware of that. But if he hadn't had an injury and this was how he played, I mean, there's no discernible difference between him and Hassan Ridgeway. And I say that without any hyperbole. I mean, the guy has played 190 snaps. He has 5 tackles, a sack, 2 quarterback hits. And I know stats don't tell the story with the defensive tackle. Those stats tell the story with him. I mean, he's not blowing plays up and leading to other guys making plays here. And to pay they make this big projection that he's going from a 2-gap scheme to a 1-gap scheme. This scheme's going to really fit his skill set better. I mean, $13 million a year. Think of what you could have done with that money on whether it's the offensive side of the ball, whether it's linebacker, whether it's the secondary.
Robbie Anderson.
Yeah. Whether it's, none of the above and just kind of preserving it to have a little more flexibility going into next offseason. This was their plan B. They lose out on Byron Jones and they say, all right, well, we'll turn that into Darius Slay trade and a Hargrave signing. And Slay's been great, but this signing has been a disaster. I mean, am I crazy?
It's still early.
It is. Yeah. You're through 6 games. It's been a disaster. Maybe
and he missed one and really was only back.
Okay. All right. So I am right to be patient. All right. So let's revisit in in a month, but I will just say he's giving them, next to nothing, in my opinion, that you couldn't get from a minimum salary player through the first 5 games.
But to your point of how they could have spent that money in your free agency rankings, you mentioned that Corey Littleton is like the exception of what you would typically view a linebacker because he can play all 3 downs. And so when you see the way the linebackers have played this year, that's also something you must weigh.
Although he stunk it up, I think, for the Raiders so far. So
I haven't been watching much Raiders.
Maybe I missed on Littleton. That's been like a storyline.
Okay, all right. Well, I take that back then. Yeah.
They're probably having the same conversation about Littleton. So it is hard. No, that's a good point. It is hard to project these guys. But the Robbie Anderson one is interesting, and I was not high on Robbie Anderson. I'm kicking myself for not employing the Adam Gase theory.
Yes, I know.
It's like because he is really. I mean, he's been a top 10 receiver by every statistical metric. And it's not like stat padding. He's making incredible plays for them every week.
And he's exactly what they needed. But I think Zach is going to say, my understanding is they were not interested in Robbie Anderson. It was Perryman who they were, monitoring and decided not to pay.
Both said it well there. Yep.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything. Brandon Graham I feel like is moving better than he ever has at this.
He's unbelievable.
I don't know what he's doing with diet or conditioning or what, but like he was chasing Lamar Jackson down, to the sideline. So that's a great sign because, that's a player who theoretically could be in the decline. And we're talking about, he's not giving you what he used to. He's playing as well as he's ever played. I think Malik Jackson was very good. Once again,
do you have an Alex Singleton take?
I think
he was the dime linebacker in the first half, and then Gary took over in the second half.
I mean, I'm sort of this was a game where I'm like kind of done with Gary. I think that's the right move. Get Singleton out there, give other guys a shot. You kind of know what you're getting with him. I mean, that one play, I know it's not fair, but he's in open space against Lamar Jackson. Like he's not going to make that play.
Yeah,
he's not good in coverage. He's getting bulldozed by guards in the run game. I just don't know exactly what he's giving you that that you want to keep him out there right now. So
real quick, the injury report just came out,
okay.
and it's as we said. 6 players ruled out: Jack Driscoll, Zach Ertz, Malik Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey, Miles Sanders, and Kayvon Wallace. No one is questionable for this game. So Lane Johnson and Deshaun Jackson are definitely going to play. Same thing with Devontae Maddox. And unless the Eagles make a roster move in the next 24 hours in terms of putting a guy on IR, they will have 6 injured players inactive, and then we assume Nate Sudfeld. Right.
Poor Sudfeld.
Yeah.
It's so silly.
I was hoping we could start this podcast with another lengthy segment on Nate Sudfeld being inactive, but I think you guys covered that in the post-game pod, so we can move on.
We got to we got to keep our eyes on the end of the roster. That's
good news. Lane Johnson and Deshaun Jackson. I mean, that's big.
Yeah, and so they'll definitely play.
Okay, all right, that's all I got.
Okay, well then let's turn our attention to the New York Football Giants coming off their first win of this season over the Washington Football Team. They are 30th overall in DVOA. And let's talk about the offense first, where they are dead last in the league in efficiency, 32nd, 29th passing, and 30th rushing. In year 2, Danny Dimes has not been so great. He continues to turn the ball over a lot. And it's a pretty you can tell me if I'm wrong here, Sheil, but the kind of uncreative offense you might expect from Jason Garrett.
I look forward to telling you about that, but first I have to tell you about DraftKings Sportsbook. Week 6 of football is in the books, and now it's time to review the tape and get ready for Week 7. I'll be doing this tomorrow morning as I write my picks against the spread column. 9-5 again last week. I don't know what's in the water here at media, but it's been a good season so far. There's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 7, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to earn a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 when signing up using promo code TOSS. DraftKings Sportsbook has endless ways for you to bet, from live betting to betting on your favorite players. They do it all. Don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all MMA and baseball fans who sign up now the chance to turn $1 into $100 by betting on either this weekend's UFC 254 or by taking action on any baseball championship game. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TOSS when you sign up and get up to $1,000. That's code TOSS to get a sign-up bonus up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I will have that DraftKings Sportsbook app up on my phone Sunday because this football season will be different, and Pepsi is here to get you ready for game day, no matter how you watch this season. I don't typically get Sundays in front of the television screen or at least where I can watch a non-Eagles game, and this is one of those rare Sundays when Bo and I are not at an Eagles game, and so we'll be able to watch the NFL on TV. Pepsi is the refreshment you need to power through game day and become a member of the League of Football Watchers. These passionate fans are the real generational talent that Pepsi fuels, because Pepsi isn't made for those who play the game. It's made for those who watch it. Pepsi, made for football watching. Go to madeforfootballwatching.com to check out the latest football watching content from Pepsi.
All right, Dr. Capadia, let's hear about that Giants offense.
Okay, the Giants offense. Let me see. I know I had notes on them somewhere. Here it is. They stink. They are terrible. They are one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I think in terms of EPA per play, they are above only the New York Football Jets. They hired Jason Garrett, very creative outside the box hire. I think, I don't think these minority candidates really have any reason to argue, because when a white guy like Jason Garrett gets hired, it's totally, he's had a great background, proven track record, and it makes complete sense. So, you have to look at the guys that are being hired.
I'm in on this. You're janking my bit.
It's totally fair. There's definitely no minority candidate who's worked his way through the ranks who was more deserving.
The NFL is a meritocracy.
Like Vic Fangio said.
Fangio said,
100%. So 28th in passing, 28th in rushing. In this points boom of 2020, they've scored 20 or fewer points in all but one game, averaging 14.5 points per game. That ranks 31st. There was one stretch where they went 20 straight drives without a touchdown. Daniel Jones, who actually, as a rookie, I'm not saying he was great, but you could see that there are some tools to work with. Like, really, if you put Daniel Jones on with like Andy Reid right now, the Chiefs are making the playoffs. I legitimately believe that. If you trade Patrick Mahomes for Daniel Jones, the Chiefs would be making the playoffs. Meanwhile, Jason Garrett.
So will the Giants.
Yes. Yeah. Well, probably.
Probably.
No, they will. Yeah. But, it's more impressive to be doing more with less than less with more.
Does this give you a deeper appreciation for Pat Shurmur?
No, I'm not sure that there's anything that would qualify for that. Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. He's got 22 fumbles since the start of last season. Do you think that's more or less than Carson? More than Carson Wentz?
I think it is. I think it is slightly more.
Zach?
I think it's fewer than Carson Wentz.
Slightly more. Okay. 22 in 19 games. Carson Wentz was second, I believe, with 21 in 22 games.
Too bad Jameis is not playing.
Offensive line stinks. 29th in pass block win rate. Daniel Jones, the one thing he has done is he can run the ball. He had like a 49-yarder on a zone read last week. I'm not going to use any of those. What's the word when a white guy's fast?
Oh, yeah, it's sneaky athletic. Yeah.
Sneaky athletic. No, he's just athletic.
I think there's an argument that he is sneaky athletic, not because he's white, but because he's got that
kind of a nerdy look.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the eyebrows thing that he's got going on.
What's he got with the eyebrows?
It's kind of like these like bushy sort of unibrow eyebrows.
Hey, listen,
it's the nerdy look. Yeah.
Some of us have bushy eyebrows. Take it easy, all right? I will not stand for that slander.
I was reading about this BYU quarterback Zach Wilson, who's lighting it up. And
can I ask you a question? Is he old?
I don't think he's particularly. I don't think he's particularly old.
He's not post mission.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But he was described as like sneaky athletic, or his athleticism will surprise you, that kind of thing.
It's like Jimmer Fredette.
So he's their leading rusher. He's got 204 yards, averaging 7.6 yards per carry. Now, they also added Devontae Freeman, who's taken over for Saquon Barkley. And in the passing game, Darius Slayton is their best player. He's got over 400 yards, averaging over 16 yards per reception. I would think this is a big play Slay matchup with big play Slayton type of game.
Very fun.
Slay on Slayton.
Yeah. I would think that this is a game where you do match him up with Slayton all over the field. They also have.
Who would you rather have, Darius Slayton or Clapson Thornton?
Oh, I thought you were going to Darius Slayton or Darius Slay. That's an interesting question for the Eagles.
I would rather Darius Slay.
I think I'd rather have Slayton.
I think I'd rather have Slayton.
Yeah.
I think it's Slay. I think Slay's a top of the league type cornerback.
Okay, nice.
We were seeing how little difference that makes.
Mediocre defense.
Wait, real quick. I don't want to interrupt, but when I was reading the Eagles status report, the Eagles injury report, I was just reading who's in and out. But there's one thing I should mention here. Alshon Jeffrey, they added calf injury to his designation. That was not on the injury report yesterday. So this is new, that now it's the foot and the calf that is keeping him out.
You think, water gun to your back, does he play a game for the Eagles this year?
Yes.
Calf doesn't seem that bad, but who knows?
So sorry to interrupt you there.
That's okay. That's good. That doesn't sound great. Evan Ingram, who's always been a good player, they found him to make him like one of the most boring tight ends in the league.
Yes.
It's another great job there. Golden Tate looks completely cooked. And
your boy.
And we'll see if Sterling Shepard return. So that is their offense. I mean, really, you can. I know the any given Thursday thing, but man, if you can't,
if this defensive line can't just dominate, this offensive line, then the Eagles are in real trouble.
You're like their offensive line. Yeah, they benched Andrew Thomas for being late last week. Yeah, right. And then
is it Andrew Thomas or Thomas Andrew?
It's Andrew Thomas.
Okay.
Number 4 overall pick. Late to a meeting, so they benched him and him and Matt. Is it Pert or Peart?
I thought it was Pert.
Pert. Yeah, from UConn.
Greg Cosell insisted that it's Payert on his podcast.
Oh, really?
On the Eagle Eye and Sky podcast. Yeah. And I kept laughing. There's no way that's what it is. Matt Payert.
He said it.
It's spelled so confidently.
Yeah, wouldn't you only say that if you were like sure?
You knew it's Payert, yeah. Yeah. So
anyway, I thought that was that was the moment of my week so far.
Is there a Gettleman thing behind you?
No. Dave is gone from the wall.
Okay, Dave invested in the Hog Mollies, the number 4 overall pick, and
yeah. So that's a good transition. Their defense is not terrible. I thought they were going to have one of the worst defenses in the league this year. That has not been the case. There he is.
Got him.
They're mediocre, between like 16 and 20 by both most metrics. They've got those hog mollies, like you said, inside Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, who I've ripped plenty in the past, but actually has played pretty well this year, Dalvin Tomlinson. And so this is a hard game to run the ball inside, specifically if you're playing Jamon Brown at right guard. So that could be a tough go. They can't rush the passer. They're terrible at that. James Bradbury has played well for them, though. That was kind of one of those other free agent cornerbacks who was out there on the market. They signed Logan Ryan, who's, kind of hit or miss. I don't think he's a great player anymore, but he certainly is versatile. I will say this, we've crushed Joe Judge a lot, and deservedly so, I think. Last week, they had like a 4th and 2 from the Washington 38 where they went up to draw a delay of game, but they get to the line of scrimmage with like 5 seconds left. And so, Jones gives like one quick call and then they had to call timeout and they punted. They had another thing. I think they kicked a field goal, like 4th and 2 from the Washington 2. So he's been conservative, but I will say that I don't get the sense yet that like the players, this isn't like a Matt Patricia or Adam Gase setup yet. Like they actually do play with joy, some effort. It doesn't seem like they're out there being like, we totally hate our head coach, which was a concern when you looked at how he ran training camp. So I don't know if that's because it's early. I don't know if there's something there. There was that clip where, what did he do? Was it a slip and slide or what was
the fumble drill? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought like, in those you can kind of tell whether they're like, all right, this clown or, whether they were kind of into it. They seem kind of into it there. So he very well may end up being a disaster. They haven't.
I think you are. This is a moment in time where you are going on the record as being a Joe Judge fan.
Nice try.
Let's make sure that we mark this for history.
Nice
that
try.
You are endorsing Joe Judge.
As Zach would say, he's a Philly guy.
He is. But he annoyed Bo by transferring to Lansdale Catholic.
Yeah, that's such a non-concussion uncle move. What are you doing, buddy?
You wanted to play quarterback.
Go win the job.
Sheil, I'm curious.
What a quitter.
I usually try to at least watch some of the team during the week, and haven't watched any of the Giants this week. Short week. I was reading clips that was praising Gettleman's offseason because Blake Martinez and Kyler Fackrell are playing well.
Fackrell is playing well, right?
Is that the case?
I mean, it's a low bar.
He had a big play last week against one of the worst offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, Blake Martinez stinks, and he drafted a left tackle at 4, who they've already benched, and the guys they drafted him over him are all better than him. Like, clearly right away.
I actually liked Andrew Thomas coming out of Georgia, and I
thought it was a fine pick.
Yeah,
it wasn't that.
He got benched for being late.
They picked him, but they picked him over Mekhi Becton and Jedrick Wills, who are both definitely better.
So were you on the record that those guys were definitely better than Andrew Thomas?
Well, I don't think I was doing all the homework on the left tackles, but I think I think I did have Becton ahead. But
okay, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was fine. I didn't think their draft was crazy. No, he has not done a good job though. Their team stinks. They have a terrible roster.
And he also could have traded down.
They've invested the Leonard Williams retaining him on the franchise tag was one of the worst moves by any team in the entire offseason.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. They're garbanzo beans.
Yeah. But you got to say something. They're 6th in special teams DVOA, so Joe Judge is bringing the juice there.
They had like a really nice fake punt that was, I think.
And Tristan Wirfs, as somebody says, also better.
I don't know if it was a touchdown, but it got brought back for penalty. And that was the angriest Joe Judge has been all season. Ripped his headset off. It was a pretty good insight into Joe Judge right there.
All right. Are we ready for Swooper Sore-Casting, the return? Everybody's excited.
Yes. Is this where I get to sign off? Oh no, we're.
Wait, I didn't even play the music yet.
That's impressive.
Actually, before
okay, now we can play.
Now that we have done that, it is time to slow the momentum and tell you about Magic Spoon. Every time I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, or unhealthy food and realized I basically can't eat anything anymore. But Magic Spoon is not like that. 0 sugar, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. There are 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and blueberry. And it's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free, and turnover-free. I actually had some Magic Spoon this morning. I mixed it in with the granola, so it was a nice little concoction that worked out well. I recommend that if you're looking to do something like that. Go to magicspoon.com/birds to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use your promo code BIRDS at checkout to get free shipping. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/birds and use the code BIRDS for free shipping. We thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring the podcast.
All right. Some comments really quick here. First of all, you screwed up in your review of the game on Sunday night. You didn't give me credit for my Jalen Hurts over 20 yards rushing, receiving, passing. So terrible job by you. But no one
two correct for you.
No one is surprised by that. RSQ says, can't wait to see how Bo rigs the game in his favor this week. Totally agree. Looking forward to that. Neil, and a lot of people talking about the mug that Marissa is drinking from. There's
a lot of comments on the mug.
Yeah, what's this mug?
Same size
it's really
as her
like
head.
not that big. I think I have small hands.
Yeah, put it next to your head.
I mean,
I can't really tell. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We're not that big.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I wouldn't say it's.
Yeah, look at Bo's.
I love to drink from a big mug.
Yeah, I definitely like a bigger one versus smaller.
Yeah, I don't like that middle ground.
Well, the problem with a big mug is it cools down too quick.
That's
true.
That's fair. All right.
That can be an issue
and then I've been self-conscious to drink out of it because everybody was talking.
Are you going coffee or tea there?
Coffee. Okay. This is actually my first cup of the day.
Oh,
so.
Wow. More to come. The Athletics Can't Wait Jets podcast says they hope Bo finished last in the voting for the award that Zach won. So that rivalry.
Yeah, I've always been told not to punch down, so I'm not going to.
Okay. Wenzel says, Baller Z-Berm, stock tips, cycling god, calves of gold. What can't this man do? I agree.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't think any of that is applicable. I'm not a great bicyclist.
Well, the calves at least.
I don't know where this calf thing came from. By the way.
I think we know.
And stock. I mean, no, I'm not.
Give everyone Amazon. If they would have listened, we've been over this. If they would have listened to your combine stock tips, people would have legitimately made a lot of money.
That part is true, actually. Yes.
Coach Flynn wants to know what, if any, awards have Sheil or Bo won. I mean, mine are so pathetic. Like I won like second place in blogging and Philly.com when like the whole company I worked for like hated that I was blogging. And so there wasn't really like a big cake in the kitchen or anything there. No big celebration there. I did win an emerging professional from Penn State when I was in like my mid-20s. Since then, I mean, they haven't called me back. You know, they don't want me to talk to any classes. I hear from nobody. So just as a kid, I feel like I peaked athletically at like 11. I feel like as I grown up, I peaked professionally probably around like 27.
MVP of my baseball team.
All right. John Patterson says, quote, I knew I was the best. Zach, also humility and sports journalism award winner. So that was, and then somebody else says, I'm not going to go with false modesty, and then says some super modest stuff. Was recapping Zach's speech there. A real football writer guy. He says, you're only as good as your next story. John,
I was going to pull out the Tom Brady thing because my brothers tease me that when you ask Tom Brady like what his favorite Super Bowl is, he says the next one. So like if someone says what's your favorite article, I say the next one.
Jake Elliott's story. Who knows? We might be here a year from today.
I don't know. We don't get a lot of that. Didn't get a lot of reads this morning. So.
John wants to start a GoFundMe for Z Berm's trophy case. Yeah, I think we could probably do that.
That's okay. Good. There's a lot more.
Rich Bobby, when I was complaining about not winning anything, says I win the Rich Bobby Award for excellence every year. So I appreciate that.
There you go.
Rich Bobby, and that comes.
Well, what the hell? Where's my award? Rich?
I think you didn't complain enough. Like, yeah, you complain a little. And that comes with the great travel coffee mug that Rich Bobby got me. So I appreciate that. And lastly, Kyle wants to know, Zach, is there planning underway for a celebratory BWF Schuylkill Trail bike ride in your honor? So.
Don't have anything planned right now, but have a lot of hours. I have a lot of hours to kill tomorrow, actually. So with the game at night, and so maybe a bike ride is in store tomorrow afternoon.
In retrospect, I wish that Sheil and I had coordinated to both show up at your house last night and spray champagne at you as you open the door.
It's not like
that would have been good. I would have been in on that.
I appreciate the compliments.
Could have picked up a little J. Roget like the college days. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, game. Let's get this out of the way.
All right.
I can sign off.
Swooper Sore-Casting, of course. We know the rules this time, so there's no complaining that you didn't know the rules. And if you listen back to last week's episode when I was gone, Sheil corrects Zach on the rules because he knows what the rules are. And then he realizes he's in bad shape, and so he then jumps on.
Then I realized how stupid the rules were. Yeah,
but you knew what the rules were.
Yeah, at that point, at one point in time.
Okay.
But I went back and I read the live comments that night, and people thought that the revised rules were better.
Well, that's possible, and if we will play this out. We will play this out this week because you know the rules, and we'll see how it goes. I understand that if you wager, you can wager up to 8 points or whatever, and you get what you wager might be more fun. I don't think that that's true. And it opens itself up for more chicanery because if I throw in like Carson Wentz is going to throw a pass and I wait for it, and then I hop on 10 points or something. So we'd have to figure out some guardrails.
So on one side, we have Zach, Sheil, Coach Flynn, my wife, and really there were only two takes. There were two takes by listeners. One was you knew the rules, but they weren't great rules. You should do it the other way. Two was the rules were confusing. There was nobody that I saw that thought that Bo's way was the best way, and we should continue with that. Zach and I get a text from Bo 3 hours before the show. Let's do Swooper Sore-Casting one more time with the original rules.
Yeah, let's see how it goes now that we know how it's working.
How about what do you guys think? All right, let's just get this over with.
Well, listen, I'm just trying to keep my head above water here as we're preparing to head to the hospital any minute. So, let's just do what we're doing.
I mean, I can't really come back on that one.
Yeah,
it's a conversation.
I'm very happy for you. I don't know how much you want us to talk about that on the pod.
I'm just, time is
time's of the essence. Fair enough.
All right. So we've each given Marissa 3, and we have 10 turkeys to bid with, and it's open bidding, and you get only 1 point if your prediction comes through, no matter how many turkeys you put on it. And then we've got 3 predictions that have come from the chat. Marissa, are you ready to?
It was very hard to pick 3 from the chat. I have some honorable mentions. I'll say at the end, but
okay.
Very good and very creative from the chat. All right, so we're going to start with Daniel Jones has multiple fumbles.
1.
2.
Going once, going twice.
Okay.
Sold to Bo for 2. Okay, I'm going to keep track
really
well of all
that was a good 1 jump by Sheil.
Okay, so that one goes to Bo. All right, number 2. Boston Scott has at least 5 receptions.
1.
Ooh, who gets it?
Sheil was in first, I think.
All right, 2.
Sheil's going to jump on one as quickly as he can on every time.
Listen.
I respect that.
I'm playing by the rules.
Playing the game,
that have been set forth.
So I'm not going, Zach. That you can have that one if you want it.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
Bosco 5+.
wait. Zach said 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
I said 2.
Okay. Yep. So, hold on. All right.
Sheila's giddy. He's just eager to jump.
Do we have
with the
to
one.
wait for the question to be completed or no?
Yes, I think you have to
Yeah.
wait for the question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's like
prompt to be
Jeopardy,
completed.
right?
Okay. All right.
Or not like Jeopardy. I guess you
Right.
can put it at any time. Never mind. A non-running back leads the Eagles in rushing yards.
1.
I'm gonna let him have it.
You can have it.
For 1. Okay. Golden Tate has more yards than Deshaun Jackson.
1.
All yours.
That's
That's actually not that bad. Deshaun could get hurt like 2 plays in.
that's true.
Yeah,
I'll give it to you. Well, no. We have how many of these? We have 12 of these?
You have 8 left. No.
Yeah,
you
there
have
are
8
there are
left.
12,
but there are
total,
12 total.
but you
Yeah,
have
12
8
total.
turkeys left. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go 2.
Okay.
Sold to Zach for
Zach
2.
gets it for 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Zach, you are down to 6. Sheil's at 9. Bo's at 8. All right. One of the following 3 things happens. Darius Slay intercepts a pass intended for Darius Slayton. Slayton scores a touchdown in Slay, or the 2 of them get into a fight.
1. Ooh, Marissa has to judge who got that.
I was easily in first. Come on.
I don't know
I
about
was
that.
still reading the question.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody? All right. Commenters weigh in. I was easily in first on that one.
Anyone want to wager 2?
Well,
and
they're
make it
a little
easy?
bit behind.
Okay. We can.
All right.
wait
Let's
for
see
it.
the first comment that comes in. It should come in any second. We're about 10 seconds
Can
behind.
we do a poll? Can we do a poll in here? I don't think
No,
so.
we can't.
Mention that
Well,
to
the
YouTube.
last comment is that the tension is palpable, and he's right. It's just that the tension is about who the next comment's going to be. It sounded perfectly even.
Oh my god!
Whoa!
Sheil, oh.
This is ridiculous. Oh my god! Go back.
Sheil,
Thank you.
Sheil.
Oh, there they
Oh,
come.
oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh my god! This is ridiculous. People get your
That's
hearing
pretty
checked.
even. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's
No,
a lot of
I
Sheil.
have many more.
How
now.
is it? How can there be such disparity? All right, I'll give it to Sheil. He's got the majority of the votes. So that's fair.
Okay.
I will.
Tie goes to Marissa. Someone said.
Yeah, that's my one. No, I already got the Titans to worry about.
Are you gonna go 2, Bo? What were the 3 things? Slay scores on Slayton. Slayton scores on Slay. Slay
Slay-
intercepts on Slayton, or they get in a fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to go 2.
Okay.
All right. So Sheil is down to 8. Bo is at 8, and Zach is at 6. The 2 teams combine for 7 or more dropped passes.
1.
2.
Oh boy, that's a lot of drop passes. Okay.
It's a lot of bad.
Or are we
players.
qualifying drops though?
Sport radar tracking.
Okay, fair
How
enough.
about that?
Okay.
All right.
Going once, going twice.
It's not as fun as the Slay Slayton one. I wish I had done that instead.
You wish you had wagered your 2 on there.
Yeah. All right. So we're halfway through, and Zach and I have 6 left, and Sheil has 8 left.
Yes, correct. Okay. Richard Rodgers has more receptions than the amount of times Carson Wentz is sacked.
I mean, even I don't want to game theory this one. All right, one. I'll go 1. I mean, really, if there was 1 I didn't want to do, so I'll give it a 1.
I'll go 2.
Oh, Rich Rod.
Zach, you want in?
I'm gonna save my turkeys.
All right.
All right.
Sold to Bo for 2. So Bo is down to 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, the Eagles just released Jamon Brown
Oh.
and signed Jason Kroom from the practice squad to the active roster.
Sounds about right.
All right. Back to the game. The Giants punt on 4th and less than 5 from inside Eagles territory.
1.
I think that was me.
Wow.
No,
I think that was me.
I think it was Zach. I think it was
me.
Zach.
Uh,
I think it was Zach.
How many questions are left after this one, Marissa?
5 or 4 after
1,
this one.
2, 3. Yep, 4 after this one.
And
2.
how many am I down by?
You have
I mean, how many
you have
have I-
8 left.
How
Sheil.
many questions have I taken so far?
2.
Ooh.
I'm bidding 2. I'm bidding 2.
Yeah,
here just
your
to-
one that you got is like
Mm.
packed with
Mm.
possibilities, but
Okay. All right.
It's only
I went
one.
2. You went 2 on that. All right. I can't go 3.
Okay.
all right.
Zach, do you
so-
want to go 3?
No.
Okay, so Bo gets that for 2. So Bo only has 2 left.
Everyone thought that Zach, a lot of people
Yeah.
thought Zach won that one.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
said.
yeah, you were right.
Oh, we gave it
We
to
gave
Bo.
it to him. We
Okay.
gave it
All
to
right.
Yeah. Bo just jumped in and said he won, but
I thought
Yeah.
I did.
I'm shocked.
No, that was the one we just did.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
wager
No, I-
too.
no,
I
I-
wagered
yeah.
2.
We got it. We're good. We're good.
Okay. You're confusing me. I got a lot of stuff. on my
Marissa's ready to
over here.
punch everybody.
Yes. Just like, what's
Marissa's
up
going
with
to
these
break
guys?
that mug over our heads.
Exactly.
All right, 3 left. Darius Slay has his first interception.
1.
One.
Zach got that
2.
one first.
Oh,
2.
Marissa, how dare you?
That was an easy one.
Do you have anything left to wager, Bo? What are you on?
Bo has 2 left.
Bo has 2, and this is the how many questions after this one?
There's
3 more.
3 after
3.
this one.
I'll go 3.
Okay,
Oh.
Bo, you're eliminated from competing
Yep.
in this one.
Oh, okay. So now, how much does Zach have left?
Zach would have 3 after this.
Okay.
Okay.
So Zach gets it.
Yep.
All right. Jalen Hurts will set a season high for offensive touches.
1.
2.
Bo went 3 to 2, so he knocked you 2 out.
So offensive touches. So
I'll go 3.
We're talking about runs or passes. Oh, I can't bid anymore then. I only have 3 left. So-
Or handoffs.
Yeah. So, okay. So the amount of times he touches the ball.
Yeah.
It's not
I'll go,
snaps, but touches.
I'll go 3. I'll
yes,
go
it's
3.
specific. It says touches. Okay. Sheil,
But we're not qualifying touches as like catches or rushes. We're talking about like because the NFL would consider offensive touches the amount of like
That's true.
yeah. So we're talking.
I read it as how many times he touches the ball.
He touches the ball. Okay.
Well, it's easy for you to say now that
You
you
just
own the
did it.
thing.
You just
But I
said that a
agree.
second ago.
I agree. But I'm
Unbelievable,
just
this guy.
saying it's
Oh
easy for
my
you to say.
it's also easy for him to say. 'cause
Yeah, it
he
was
wrote-
my
He wrote that
question.
question.
He wrote
Yeah.
that question. Yeah.
Okay.
No, so I was the creator. So.
Okay.
So he gets that one.
You got it. Yeah, Zach
All
can't.
right, he gets number
can't put
3.
it.
All right, we have 2 left. Bo has 2. Zach has 3. Sheil has 5. Darius Slayton will have a catch of 40 plus yards.
2.
1.
3.
Zach can't beat it, so
I
Sheil
can't
gets
beat
it.
it. So
And
Sheil gets
Zach's gonna get the last one.
Okay.
What do you know? What does Zach have left?
He has 3
That's
left,
right.
and we have 2 left, so he's just gonna get it.
Okay.
Okay, last one. The Eagles will start 4 or more possessions from inside their own 20-yard line.
Oh,
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm.
I got stuck with this one.
I'm
Oh, I feel like
inside.
that's. I feel like that's
Oh,
possible.
I was thinking inside the Giants 20-yard line. Okay. Yeah, inside their 20-yard line. All right. So I will get this. Do we
Yes.
have to do the bidding or can I just take
No,
it?
You got it.
you get
So
it.
that
I got
worked
that.
out. That worked out appropriately. We all got 4
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
And these were the honorable mentions. The Eagles will score more than 12 points before the presidential debate ends.
Oof.
Dr.
Let's not
Sheil
bring
gets
that into it.
Dr. Sheil gets hired to help turn around the Eagles medical staff injury problems and more Eagles takeaways than Giants 20 plus yard plays.
So to recap, I have Daniel Jones 2+ fumbles, 7+ drops between the 2 teams. Dick Rod has more catches than Wentz sacks, and the Giants punt at least once on a 4th and less, 5 or less from Eagles territory. Zach has Bosco has 5+ catches. Golden Tate has more receiving yards than Deshaun Jackson. Darius Slay has his first interception of the season, and the Eagles start at least 4 possessions from inside their own 20. And Sheil has a non-running back leads the Eagles in rushing. The Darius Slayton competition. Season high in touches for Jalen Hurts, and Darius Slayton has a 40+ yard catch. So there you go.
Big Darius Slayton game for me.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. All right.
By the way, before we go on to our predictions, I got the quote of the day coming from Ryan Fitzpatrick down in Miami. Quote, I basically got fired yesterday, and my day consisted of Zoom meetings with the guy who fired me and sitting in a room with the guy who replaced me for 4 hours.
That's true. That's good.
It's a good quote.
I like that. All right.
One other thing the chat's been discussing with the Jamon Brown news, I think it's interesting to bring it up. Quentin Spain released by the Bills. Could that be a possibility for the Eagles?
Good question. I don't see the Eagles going in that direction right now because I think I think their help is more, or their need is more short term. And I imagine they'll have some options back. After this game, they have 10 days before they play again. Then they have a bye week. So really they only have one game in 20 plus days or something. And the injury situation might look different then. So I can't imagine them looking for veteran help at this point. Bo?
I just what's the story? Why was he released? It doesn't make a lot of sense for him to just get whacked, right? So you got to do your homework. Yeah. But, if it comes down to, a Jamon Brown type or Quentin Spain, sure, go ahead and get him. I feel like there might be somebody else around the league who has a more dire need.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, he started 16 games for them last season and their offensive line was really good. So he's 29 years old, but I think fell out of favor this year. They replaced him, I believe. And I don't know if there was an injury involved there, but I think Zach's point is a good one, that if you feel like you're getting healthy with some of these guys, then you probably don't need to make that move now. And another team might have a more glaring need.
And of course, the real reason the Eagles are not going to sign him is that he's never played for the Eagles before.
It's true.
All right, let's get to our crystal ball Eagle tomorrow night on prime time national television. The Eagles take on the Giants. Zach, why don't you tell us what you think is going to happen? The line last check was 4.5.
4.5. Yeah,
that's what I'm checking. And the over under is 45. Okay, so 4.5 line, 45 over under. I like the Eagles here, even with the injuries that they have. And Bo and I were talking about this in the beat back and forth the other day. I actually think the next Giants game is a little easier for the Eagles than this game, given the fact that it's a quick turnaround and the Eagles are undermanned. But I think the Eagles are the better team. They have some mismatches they can exploit. I like Doug in a short week. I like Carson in a short week. And so I am going Eagles winning. The question is, am I going them covering? And I am going to say no on that. I'm going 24-21. So that
you're hitting the over under right on the nose.
Right on the number. Yep. And maybe Jake Elliott kicks a game winning field goal here.
And they go on to win the Super Bowl. No.
Perhaps. That's what happened in 2017.
Although somebody did, I believe somebody tweeted at us, Jason Peters' job on the team right now should just be to tell Jake Elliott no more misses, no more. He doesn't need to play anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just scare him into he did make his next 5 kicks of 50 plus that year after that speech, or that after Peters implored him.
I can go next because this is the rare show where Sheil has not already published his prediction for the game. So we'll build up the suspense for him to go last. I think I agree with pretty much everything Zach was saying. Like, I'm not going to come on here and predict a Joe Judge team to win. It's just not something I'm going to do. That said, I also said that I wasn't going to pick the Eagles the rest of the year until they put Elijah Riley on the active roster. So I think I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win but not cover. I do think they will be able to dominate this game defensively at the line of scrimmage. Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, they should eat. Maybe we'll even get to see Javon Hargrave do something interesting. And I think they'll be able to do enough on offense, whether that is, a shot play to Deshaun Jackson or just, Travis Fulgham's emergence in prime time. People get to see that he's actually a good player, not just a fluke. I think they will win this game. Probably like a little bit handily at the end, but the Giants score a late touchdown to cover. I give me Eagles 27-24.
Well, first Zach, you Stan, and then you say they're going to eat. This podcast's getting pretty cool here. I might have to keep up somehow. I've been encouraged by the play of Carson Wentz over the last 2 weeks. I think Fulgham is sort of this interesting mystery character that's popped up out of nowhere and really gives them something. I don't think that this Giants defensive line, I don't think it's one that would necessarily overpower the Eagles offensive line, even if they're at less than full strength, which they will be. And you go into a game against Daniel Jones and you're getting at least one turnover. Now that could make for an interesting post-game pod if they don't, but that has been the case. Is you're getting one, there's a good chance you're getting two. And so Jason Garrett should not be out coaching you in this game. I think the Eagles are going to win pretty handily in this game. Maybe it's like close in the first half, but then they pull away. So I've got Eagles 27, Giants 17.
And we haven't talked about this. I mean, we mentioned it at the top, but I mean, this is a big game for my brand, if Sua Opeta is getting his first start potentially.
Here I thought Bo was going to say, like, for the state of the franchise, you get embarrassed on Thursday night, our head's going to roll, our guy's going to get fired. But of course, it was about Sua Opeta. I should have known much more.
I mean, I have been talking about Sua Opeta for a year and a half now, for him to finally be getting this start.
We all know.
It's a big night.
I thought Bo was going to say, like, this is a monumental time in his life. Like, there's a lot going on right now. He'll always remember this game because of everything.
You of all people cannot be spitting that out. You got the rest of your life with these kids.
I was always the birth of my two kids were two of the greatest days of my life. I
just
was there.
Behind yesterday.
I loved it. I there's nothing bad I can. I'm not. You can't put that on. I love my kids.
Of course.
Yeah. I was at the hospital.
Love awards too.
I was at the hospital for baby number one, Eagles Giants Sunday night game.
Eagles Giants. Oh, interesting.
Brian Dawkins. Were they retiring his jersey or something? And yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was that was Chip.
Yes, that was the game. Yeah. That was the game that the Giants had a game-winning field goal that fell short. From like 48 yards or something like that. It was bizarrely short.
So Bo's always going to remember this game. We can do this Birds with Friends 10 years from now, and he'll no matter what, he's going to remember this Thursday night game. I can promise you that.
What are the chances you're giving that Bo is able to cover this Thursday night game tomorrow night?
I don't know. I mean, I'll defer to Bo on that one.
I'm going to say...
I know you don't have any inside information.
I don't want to...
Zach's like, I haven't really reported this one out yet. I don't want to speculate.
I don't.
He's got to make some calls. I'm going to say it's at like 45%.
That you cover the game?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right, now are you in for the post-game pod, Sheil?
Oof.
It's going to be like 2 a.m., Sheil.
Is that how late it's going to be? Well, let's give me some kind of like stipulation.
It doesn't have to be that late necessarily.
If you can do it, if you can bump it up earlier, I'm more inclined to. But I don't want to ruin your writing schedule, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I think we're at whatever works for Bo this week.
If you could do it right after your interviews are wrapped up.
Well, you might be forced to, right?
Yeah. All right. If Bo's at the hospital, then yes, Zach, I will do it.
We'll do it. We'll
then we'll do like a 3-hour. We'll do daily pods. Yeah, we'll do
Elijah Riley's segment. Yeah,
I'm gonna be signing into the chat.
Marissa, make sure Bo is like doesn't get the invite or whatever.
All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this supersized edition of Birds with Friends. Thanks to everybody for listening and for watching. And we will, at least some of us will be with you tomorrow night to cover the game with the post-game pod as the Eagles take on the Giants. So for Marissa and Sheil and the award-winning Zack Berman, I'm Bo, and as always, we love you.